Hi guys, I've got another really simple page in my traveller's notebook today. Last week our town was rocked by a couple of fairly dramatic events, and so I'm keeping this page really simple because I just want to focus on the story. I've printed out a couple of little photos here because there were a couple of events. So the first was that there was not just one but a few fairly dramatic fires around our city. You may have heard me complaining before about the heat wave we've been having, and ultimately it just got too much. So this one here that the photo was of was very close to our house. It was very scary. So the photos are actually mine. They're not from a newsreel or anything like that. I took them myself from our balcony whilst feeling very unsettled one night. And then luckily for the fire, but unluckily for the rest of the town, the next day we had torrential rain, which caused some very severe flooding for a lot of people. I am very lucky that we live on a hill, so our house was not affected by the flood, but it just was shocking to me that two natural occurrences like that happened within such a short space of time with each other. So while I've been prattling on, I've just been trimming out my photo, and I've added a few strips of washi to create a shelf or just somewhere to ground my photos, and I'm going to put one photo on each side of the page. So I end up covering a lot of the washi tape that I've already put down, but I'm not worried about that. I don't want the washi to be the, the highlight of the page. It's just a little bit of a background for those photos. And when I thought about how I was going to stamp out the title for this page, I wasn't sure which alpha stamp I wanted to use. So in the end, I've decided to use all of them. And so I've grabbed all of my favourite Kellie Stamps alpha stamps, and I'm going to create a title with all of them. So I'm going to use them, I guess, much like you would a ransom note. This was more just to play around, but I kind of like the effect that it has. It's sort of unsettled and unbalanced, and I guess that's how I was feeling at the time, so I think it suits very well. So you can see here all I'm doing, and I'll speed this up a little bit for you. All I'm doing is just randomly choosing a letter from a random alpha and stamping that so that it creates my title. And I'm also going to give you a tiny sneaky peek of the next alpha coming to Kellie Stamps there. That'll be on the 23rd of February, available there. Love this alpha. And then I'm carrying on across the page. Now, I mean, technically what I've written, if the title is right, I'm going to spell out fires and flood, but grammatically I guess it should be fire and flood or fires and floods. I don't know, it doesn't sit well with me, but because it's technically correct, I'm just going to leave it as that is. And then all else I'm going to add to this page is just a bit of journaling, and probably a bit more journaling than what you're used to seeing me do. And I'm just writing that in underneath just by hand with a gel pen. I was still reasonably shaken up by all of this when I was writing this journaling, so a lot of it's just about my gratefulness to the emergency services and how they come to help when we need them, risking themselves in the process. Now, at the time, I thought this page was finished, and that's where I finished filming, and I took my photos and I left it, but it just never sat right with me. I just didn't feel like it was balanced. It was very bottom heavy, and that empty space at the top just felt a bit odd to me. So it's not often I go back and try to fix a page, but this is definitely one of those occasions. So what I decided to do is that I'm going to repeat the stamping that I have already done, and I'm going to repeat stamp it, I guess is what I'm trying to say, along the top, but just in a lighter coloured ink to fill up that space and make a little bit more of a feature of the title. So what you're seeing me do is I'm just finding all the individual stamps that I had used the first time around, and I'm just laying them out so that they are in the same place, same position as where I had originally stamped them. So I'm just sitting them onto my page to get that alignment, and then adding them to my block. So I've already done the word fires. Now, I've only got 2 clear blocks, this is it, and I wanted to do them both at the same time. So you'll see the stamps I've got sitting on my little block there, they don't quite sit properly, but for the way it's going to work, I think it'll be fine. And now what I'm doing is I'm just using the ink that I'm going to stamp with, which is, oh, I can't remember, hold on. It's Mint Julep from Hero Arts, and so I'm just stamping that onto all my little stamps and then stamping it off onto scrap paper just to clear off some of the old residue ink that's on them. I mean, you can see some of these stamps are very old. I'm not great at cleaning my stamps afterwards, but this technique works fine. If you just stamp with the ink that you intend to stamp with a few times onto scrap paper, it clears off all of that old ink. And so then I'm just going to use these words I've created, and you can see me pressing the little bits of stamp that aren't quite on the block. And I'm just going to run it in rows across the top of the page. So just offsetting it each time just to fill up that space and kind of create a pattern with my title. And once I've filled up this space a little bit more, I'm definitely much happier with my layout. It's not one of my favorites ever, but I definitely think this is an improvement, and I'm glad I went back and fussed with it. So let me know in the comments, have you ever gone back and redone a page or added a bit more or fixed something to it, and did it work out, or did you wish you'd left it alone? Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It does mean a lot to me. And if you want to keep watching, I'm going to put a couple of videos on screen here for you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye.